the crowd is going wild. A brand new season, that championship style. Big plays are coming, the rivalry's real. Get ready for that Pigskin Frenzy feel. Frenzy! It's college football, yeah, you know the deal. This is Pigskin Frenzy. Pigskin Frenzy!
I cannot wait to get started with this one. Media Day recap, and we're kicking things off with the Big 12. We usually break these down into two parts. Like, we'll have Tuesday part 1, Thursday part 2, but on this beautiful Thursday afternoon, I'm here to tell you that we are going to do every single Media Day recap in one sitting. That's going to be tough a little bit, so just bear with me. But we're going to briefly touch on these teams. We're not going to go whole, very long, but we are going to make it fun. We're going to make it interactive, like how you guys can engage with us in the comments below, and you guys can tell us how you felt about the media days as well. I'm just excited about it. I'm excited. Cannot wait to kick things off with the Big 12, especially what happened up in Frisco, Texas with the media day and the announcement about a certain partnership that we're going to discuss. Hopefully, we can get Commissioner Yormack on the show for that one day. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Podbean, your Apple, or True Voice Digital, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Follow and subscribe on all platforms. Every platform, follow and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, especially on YouTube. Catch us on True Voice Digital, inspiring faith-based content and unfiltered analysis from me, the prodigy of college football. X, Instagram, and TikTok, you know what to do. Just hit that follow button at pigskin_frenzy. Our website's www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. We are so thankful for you guys, and we are so thankful and so it's over the moon ecstatic, right? For just you guys tuning in each and every Tuesday and Thursday. You're just listening to some college football coverage and content and choosing this to be your go-to for college football coverage and content. We're so thankful. And there's plenty of shows out there, so please go and listen to theirs as well. I'm not saying this because we're all in this together, but thank you guys for tuning in each and every week. I'm so thankful for y'all. And not only is this a we show, I want to engage with y'all, and I want to deliver the best content for you guys, and I want to get y'all suggestions on stuff as well, because we've had a lot of suggestions, and we have made episodes and videos based off those suggestions. So, guys, we're thankful, we're pumped, we're ecstatic, and we are so excited for you guys tuning in each and every week. Not only that, most importantly, we cannot do this show without our Lord and Savior Jesus. We would not be in college football media and content creation if it wasn't for our Lord and Savior Jesus. We glorify him and we praise him, and we are so thankful for him. It's the best decision you can ever make in your life is coming to know him. So if you wanted to come to know him, contact me. X, Instagram, and TikTok is at Pigskin_frenzy. Message me on there. Message me on the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. You can contact me there as well. It is the best decision you can ever make in your life, coming to know him. He is Lord, and we're so thankful for him. We glorify him and praise him, and we are so thankful for him putting us in this. Because as believers in Christ, like I said, the best, or our best and ultimate goal is to, just exalt him and proclaim his name above all else, above all others. He must increase, we must decrease. So we glorify him and we praise him, and we're so thankful that he has delivered to put his in this position to exalt him and spread his name. So we're so thankful and glorify him as well. Guys, man, Big 12 Media Days. Starting it off, Big 12 Media Day recap for 2026. Very interesting things that were said. And I'm still on certain teams, and you probably already know who I'm talking about. It's hard for me to get a good read on them, right? It's hard for me to get a good read. I'm still 50-50 on certain teams. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, they could either have a really good season, or they could either have a season where they start off good, or maybe you just end up not having the best season at all. Who knows? Well, you're going to find out. Before we get started, though, if you didn't see episode 338 on Tuesday, this is episode 339. So if you didn't see episode 338 on Tuesday, shout out to John Talty from CBS Sports. He's amazing. He is awesome. It was a great and fun interview. His book, it's been out. It's his very first book he's written. So shout out to him, The Leadership Secrets of Nick Saban. If you see it right here, if you watch it on YouTube, you see me holding the book in my hand. If you're listening on audio, it's Nick Saban's A Leadership Secrets of Nick Saban. It's a Wall Street Journal bestseller. Go and read it and purchase it wherever books are sold. Shout out to John Talty. He was awesome and cannot wait to have him back on the show one day, maybe in a guest picker spot. So shout out to him as well. Let's kick things off. Let's get started. Briefly, let's get our thoughts on this partnership deal. So apparently, the Big 12 is partnering up with Monster Energy. I think it's a $20 million deal, if I'm not mistaken. Man, interesting deal. Sponsorship for the conference. My immediate response was interesting. It's a very interesting thing. I'm not going to say anything bad or good really about it. I think my mind goes to, are other conferences going to do this? That's my only question that I have. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of it. Hopefully, I would love to have Commissioner Brett Yormark on the show. It would be a huge goal and dream for Commissioner Yormark to come on the show and to talk about this deal. I would love to hear him, and I would love to hear his thoughts on the deal. I wonder if the commissioners of the other conferences, the rest of the Power Four, is going to follow suit with a sponsorship announcement of some sort. I don't know. I've seen jokes about it, like jokes about, oh, here's the John Deere Big Ten. But I'm honestly wondering, is that what's coming or not? I'm thinking about it a little bit. It's getting me pondering a little bit. Are other conferences going to follow suit behind this deal? I have no really remarks other than interesting. I think it's going to be interesting. Let's see how it plays out. I would prefer, and I will give you my thoughts on this. I would prefer to just say Big 12 football instead of saying Monster Energy, Big 12 conference football. I would rather just say Big 12 football because that's just how Joel Norris grew up on. That's what Joel Norris grew up on. That is what I am used to saying, as a part of Pigskin Frenzy and in college football media and content creation. That's just my honest thoughts. Okay, so I would just prefer to call it the Big 12. I'm probably going to still call it the Big 12, all right? So we're just going to leave it at that. So hopefully we'll get Commissioner Yormark on the show to talk about this deal. I would love to have him on the show. Shout out to the Commissioner Yormark, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark. I would love to have him on. Now, let's get to the teams, but we'll get to the teams. There's two things going on. There's two games. TCU is going to Ireland, and then the global expansion of everything. You have Arizona State and Kansas playing in London. Why? I don't know, but the Big 12 making a global expansion. Commissioner Yormark commented on that and talked about how that could be a good thing for college football and an expansion of the Big 12. So we'll see on that. Now, I'm pretty sure every team in the Big 12 Media Days has gotten the remark on 24, 16, or 12 in the college football playoff. A lot of people are in favor in the Big 12 country of that 24-team playoff. It's either going to be 24 or 12, most likely. I mean, that's what we talked about with Ross Dellinger back a month ago in early June when he was on the show. Shout out to Ross Dellinger. Hopefully he comes back on the show one day. Would love to have him back on. But a lot of them are in favor of that. It seems like they're in favor of it. A lot of coaches are want the expansion for more access for the Big 12. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in that. But a lot of coaches and teams are in favor of that as well. So that's really the three big main overall topics that Big 12 talked about at Big 12 Media Days. But if you want to talk about diving into teams, we're about to do that. 16 teams. Bear with us. Let's start with Arizona because I think Arizona's a team. They're ranked in my top 5 in my conference standing projections for the Big 12, finishing in the top 5. I believe if a couple of teams slip at the top, maybe like a big BYU, Arizona or Houston, they could slip in and cause some noise, make some noise. They do have to play Texas Tech this year. Going to be very, very interesting game. If they start winning and Texas Tech starts winning, that could be a college game day destination even. The real big push this is year 3 for Brent Brennan. Brent Brennan entering year 3. It's a huge shift of momentum. They're excited. I think the big thing is that Noah Fafita is back, and they really started pushing him as the Heisman quarterback or dark horse quarterback candidate for Arizona, but in college football as well. They really hyped him up to be a really, really special quarterback in this conference. And he is. I'm not saying that he's not. He's a really solid quarterback. I think that was a really good kind of how they played off that. I really liked how Arizona played off that in Big 12 media days. They pushed him a little bit, promoted him, and saying, hey, this man is the truth. Noah Fafita even said in media days, and I quote, that, or not really, and I quote, but he had high confidence in himself. He expressed confidence in himself. He also expressed high confidence in himself and in offensive coordinator Seth Dioch there as well. So the Heisman push for Fafita is on. So that's what we got out of media day from Arizona. I think the primary goal that they got out of it, they wanted to express as well, is that the program is stable. Very stable. The stability is good. It was a very chaotic roster in year one, and it was kind of hard because they were rebuilding and going up and down. So it was a rebuild year for them. He felt that like it was a good sign of stability, that a lot of people returned from last year, that a lot of people didn't go to the NFL or the portal. They stayed. A lot of the key players stayed in Tucson because they wanted to build on last year's success and continue that momentum. So providing that stability is really good for Brent Brennan. He really highlighted two key pieces of the roster as well and how competitive they were, including the wide receiver room. He says that Trey Spivey is a consistently high performer and that we should see a lot of reps out of him and some breakout qualities from him as well. Isaiah Latimer is back at the nickel for safety on the defense, and he is fired up about his progression as well. So those are the three things that we really got out of Arizona as well. I liked what I heard from them. I think they sound confident and ready. That's why I really put Arizona in my top 5 to begin with in the conference standing projections. So I really liked what I heard from Brent Brennan in Arizona. I liked how confident they were, and I love how he used the word stability, because it seems like that Arizona is finally getting to be stable on the overall on the team. Now, defensively, in big-time games, can they be consistent enough? That's the real question that we have for Arizona. We won't find that out until they play. So we just got to just wait until then. The expectation to me, a lot of people, and I believe the media poll projected them 5th, and I believe we had them at 4th. We had them at 4th in our conference standing projections. In the media's conference standing projections, they finished them at 5th. So we're going to see what happens there. But Arizona, confident in them, looking very, very confident in them. Now, their counterpart and their rival is Arizona State, and they also spoke with Kenny Dillingham entering his next season as head coach of that program. They were finished 7th in the conference, which is, honestly, I think that's where we had them as well. I believe that's where we had them as well. Let me look. We had them at 7th. We had them at 7th as well. I think that's a very good middle ground, so to speak. They are talking about the team culture, which was good. Kenny Dillingham's a phenomenal coach. I would love to have Coach Dillingham on the show. First off, he's a phenomenal coach. They talked about his culture and how he's instilling his culture for this year. He's excited about the overseas trip to London, go to play Kansas. The quarterback battle is a very big thing that they touched on as well. He touched on it was between, I believe, Mikey Keene and Cutter Boley. We're going to have to see. It remains open. He says that he would love for one of those guys to separate themselves, Keene or Boley, but we're going to have to see. And he says we could wait until they play Morgan State, until their first game, QB1, to name QB1. So it's going to be very interesting to see. This could bleed into the week 1, not just fall camp. This could bleed into week 1. So we're going to see what happens with Arizona State there. He used the word affinity to describe the football program. And not only that, the football program, the alumni, the university, he used infinity. They're all affinity together. He thinks that is a very good for the program, and it's going to build for the season as well, and the school trajectory is just going to go up from here on out with that. So affinity, that's a very interesting word to put it for recapping him. So He's excited about the showcase, the London showcase with Kansas. He's excited about playing that game, and he's excited about that. He thinks it's very interesting that he thinks the atmosphere could be really good. So we'll see how that happens with as well. So you got that. He talked about that. He also discussed the depth of the team. He thinks that within everything, he thinks that team unity needs to be important and needs to be built upon. So you get that going as well. So those are the few things that he talked about and addressed at Media Day as well. I think Arizona State in the middle ground is, after listening to him at Media Day, for my recap and my point and my thoughts on them, I think that's really the best spot, because I do have some questions on who can be the quarterback for this team and can they lead this team down the stretch. I think this team's going to be good. I think they're going to be a little bit better next year. I think they're still kind of rebuilding back up from where they were. I think that they can have that shot next year, but I think seventh spot, right in the middle of the top 10, is the best spot for them this year. That's just me. That's Joel Norris talking. I know the Big 12 media poll or Conference Center media poll has them at 7th as well. Me, I agree. I have to agree. I think that's the best spot for them right now. I think there are some games where they'll drop. I think there's some games on there that will win. Just the middle ground. It's just middle ground for Arizona State. I think they'll be bowl eligible. I really do. I think they'll make a bowl game. So Kenny Gillingham's a good coach not to make a bowl game for me. So that's my thoughts and my Big 12 Media Day recap on Arizona State. So that's 2. Guys, going into the third one. Baylor. That's number 3. Baylor. I think for Baylor, it's a critical year for Dave Aranda, sure. I think the big thing is, and what they talked about was accountability and strengthening the defense. Also, the big story was the arrival of DJ Lagway, former Florida quarterback and transfer quarterback from Florida. He is most likely going to start for them. I think the consistency issues are a big thing with DJ Lagway. I've said that. I think a lot of others have said that as well. We all discussed that. I think they discussed that at Media Days as well. He's praised DJ Lagway. Coach Aranda has praised DJ Lagway. He originally recruited him in high school. He loves his mobility. He loves his scrambles. He thinks that Lagway is starting to get an edge in being a leader for this team as well, which is really good. DJ Lagway himself has said that as well. In his Baylor uniform, was saying he feels like he's loving the game of football again, which is really good. He's highlighted that. He loves the game of football again. He doesn't feel like there's any pressure on him, because he felt like last year he had to go help save a job. Right? He says he doesn't feel that way. Despite the pressure on Coach Aranda, he feels like he doesn't have to save that. He feels like he doesn't really have to have that pressure of, okay, I got to go out there and fight for someone else's career. In reality, he just feels a little bit more free, and he's going back to playing the game he loves. Can he stay healthy? Can he be more consistent? I think that's the two big question marks about DJ Lagway. We'll find that out there. The strengthening of the trenches. I think the trenches, and I said this during the Big 12, during the conference standing projections episode a couple of weeks back, I said that they need to strengthen the trenches a little bit. That's it. And I think that's a good add-on, right? So talking about that, improve the defense. I said that as well. They needed to get the defense, in check and get everything going there as well. So they talked about that. They discussed strengthening the trenches and DJ Lagway. I think he also took ownership as well. He took accountability of the closeness of the games and kind of letting the game slip away from him, which, okay, you know what I mean? I understand that. And you got to, as a head coach, you would have to take accountability for that. But he took accountability for that overall from last season, the struggles from last season. Overall, my thoughts and my recap on them, I really just, I'm getting a sense of confidence, but I'm also getting a sense to me of it's 50-50 for me with them. I think it's 50-50. I can't see where the media had them and where the media poll is. I believe I had them at. I believe I had them within the top 50. Within the top 50. I mean, I had them in the top 15, I believe. So there we go. I had them at 13 in the conference standing projections. So 13th where I had them. I believe, and this is just me, I believe it's 50-50 still with Baylor. It is one of those things with me when I look at the Bears, I'm thinking, I don't know what we're going to see. I really don't. I really want to sit there and say Baylor is going to be a strong, competitive team. But I also don't know because I feel so conflicted about consistency struggles and the defensive overhaul as well. So I'm still 50-50 on them. Like, I really am. I'm still 50-50 on Baylor right now. That's just me. That's really, after listening to them on Media Day, that's my overall thoughts and my recap on Baylor from their Big 12 Media Days. I like what they said on certain points, but I'm still 50-50 on them. Can't really get a good read on them yet. So for me, that's my recap on Baylor and my Media Day recap for Baylor as well. So that's 3 teams that we've discussed. It's 20 minutes into the episode. So we have a few more teams. We have 13 more teams to go after those 3 teams. So 13 more teams to go here. So going from Baylor to BYU, another B, BYU. They are number 2 in my conference standing projections. I think that they're going to be in Dallas for the Big 12 championship game again. So they are coming off of a highly successful run, 23-4 run over the past 2 seasons as well. They made a Big 12 title appearance last year. Honestly, it's a huge thing. A lot of them think that Texas Tech won't win it. They think BYU will win it. It's either going to be Texas Tech or BYU. It's what they said. They are really high on BYU. You get Bear Bachmeier back. You get LJ Martin back. And, of course, they're speaking really confidence as well. I think one of the main talking points that they did was retaining key coaching, key members of their staff. Coach Sataki said that it is really cool that Kelly Papania came back. He was getting offers at Michigan and other schools, and he came back to be the defensive coordinator for this school. So retaining key members of your staff is really, really important, and he highlighted that. LJ Martin highlighted that the offense is, getting fully more in sync as well. Bear Bachmeier highlighted when he talked about development in his system and then how Aaron Roderick's game plan is he's learning and utilizing the playbook with Aaron Roderick as well. So you get that's very confident. And that's what you want to hear from your team if you're head coach Kalani Sitake. He preached as well. One, consistency. Don't be complacent as well, and avoiding that. He brushed off them as the conference favorite, or number 2 at least in mine. He thinks that he doesn't want them to kind of treating it like almost how Nick Saban did with rat poison. He just wants to continue to focus on his team and building off of their success and didn't buy into the predictions. He just wants to play BYU football, right? So I think those few things that he said, and that's how they addressed it, were really good. My Media Day recap, it's pretty brief. I'm confident in them because they carry themselves with confidence going in. They're really excited about playing football this fall. Coach Sitake is, honestly, he's coaching a really, really well-built team. It would not shock me if they did turn out to win the Big 12. I put them at number 2 behind Texas Tech, but it would not shock me at all if BYU ended up just winning the Big 12 championship. It really wouldn't. They're built. They're built enough on defense and offense. Now, the question is, can they be physical enough on defense now that Kelly Papania replaces Jay Hill as the defensive coordinator? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. That is my Media Day recap about BYU. Next up, for Big 12 Media Day recaps, next up, we have on our list, excuse me as I get my notes ready, on our list, we have Kansas State. So Kansas State entering year 1 with Colin Klein, former Kansas State quarterback. Grew up watching him. It is so awesome to see him being back with them and being back as the head coach now. He was the quarterback, then the OC. Now he's the head coach of that team, which is really, really cool. He's got a quarterback who kind of mimics him a little bit, and Avery Johnson, who that's a big highlight of our recap here. He thinks it's surreal that he's like leading his alma mater, going into his first media day, going through his first season. He is consistently preaching a culture of accountability, and he is overstating that he really wants to win. He wants to win badly. He has this itch to win. So Colin Klein is hungry, and I think that is kind of the vibe that I got from him with Big 12 Media Day as well. So he has his offensive playbook under wraps, so he still keeps his offensive evolution going as well. So you have that. A lot of rumors about blending in more of a physical set with the spread concepts, and what physical sets with the spread concepts, kind of like what he did at Texas A&M when he was the OC at Texas A&M last year and beyond, and in the past, right? So I think, can he evolutionize the offense at Kansas State? I think those are the two things there. That's what they talked about, and that's what they discussed, and that's what he was preaching at Kansas State as well. And then the third thing and final thing for Kansas State is this: Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson was a little bit hot and cold last year. Now, I think that a lot of people would agree with me on that. A lot of people think that he is a good enough quarterback to, break out even further, right? But a lot of people, including me, thought that he kind of underachieved last year. He really didn't make a huge impact when he could have, because he's talented. He's ultra talented. So he took ownership of a lot of the team's struggles last year. I don't think it's all his fault, but he took a lot of accountability of the struggles that, especially turnover-wise on offense. So he had a frustration, and he was a little bit frustrated at Big 12 talking about it, Big 12 Media Days talking about it, but he feels like that he is laser-focused, that he is confident in himself, and that he is now starting to develop even more as a quarterback, which is good. You turn that into a confidence, and you turn that into I'm going to develop even more for this team. So overall, my honest thoughts are this. I had Kansas State at 8 in the conference, finishing in the conference at 8th. I think it's a very, very good mark that I had them at, especially for rebuilding a little bit and bringing in a whole new head coach in. They got some talent on that team. If Avery Johnson is even more developed and is a lot better than he was last year and is kind of shaking off that funk from last year, Kansas State could be a team that you look at and you're thinking they're right back in the thick of things in the Big 12. So we're going to see what happens with Kansas State, but that's a very interesting team going into the Big 12. Coming off of a down year, same quarterback, young, vibrant head coach who's hungry to win. Going to be a very interesting story and tale in the fall. So that's my Media Day recap and my thoughts on Kansas State from 2026 Big 12 Media Day. So next up, as we keep on going down the line, next up is Kansas, their counterpart. Kansas. Lance Leipold is back. Leipold is back. He highlighted in a few points that he's excited about, and that is the coaching staff that is very experienced. So the coaching staff brings in some experience, and I think that that's a good, strong point to start off with at your media day as well. So you bring in that, and you bring in some new offensive weapons as well that you're excited about also. So I think the question is, can the defense really be consistent enough overall, especially up front in the trenches? So that's a really big question mark that I had about Kansas going into this season, especially when we talked about it on conference standing projections. So the quarterback competition, he touched on that because that's what everyone wants to know about. Jalen Daniels no longer there, so you get redshirt sophomore Isaiah Marshall. You get Cole Ballard, who most likely he's the most experienced player because he was the backup last year. So it's looking like it's going to be Ballard, but who knows? The competition's still ongoing currently, right? So it's a wide open battle apparently still. So you got that going. Offensive lineman Calvin Clemens, who was there, said that he said that they are elite players who have made big plays in practice, and it could be anybody's job to win, it looks like. So it's looking like it could be anybody's job, right? So I think the most exciting position on the offense is the running back room. Lance Leipold has really, really praised the running back room with Dylan Edwards and Yasin Willis. Yasin Willis coming in from Syracuse, the big power bruiser back, along with the versatile, speedy Dylan Edwards. They could rotate in and out, and that's what I kind of praised them about as well when we were talking about our conference standing projections as well. So we were talking about that, praising them for that. He loves that Andy Kolonicki is back as the OC. He loves that. He thinks that along with the running game, it could explode for them. And he thinks the personal growth has to be on the defensive side of the ball, and that's okay. And he thinks that it is. He thinks it's specifically transitioning the mindset of the defense and the hungriness of the defense, right? So that's really good that he's personalizing growth as well, including Leroy Harris III, even to the end. He was personalizing that. He said that he emphasized personal growth, especially on the notes, and I quote, transitioning his pass rushing skills, right? So getting better at being a pass rusher as well. So those are the overall things that Kansas has discussed in their Big 12 Media Day. So overall, in my Big 12 Media Day recap for Kansas is I really like that I like the offense and how it's being shaped up. I think defense, especially in the trenches, is still a little bit of a concern for me. I think they have a tougher schedule than most people realize. I think number 11 is where I had them in the conference standing projections. I believe that if they can win those few games, though, if they can bust out of those few games and win, I think Kansas has got a strong shot at moving up into the top 6 even. They could do it. They got the talent. Let's just see if it's going to be coached well enough and they can be consistent enough, especially in the trenches on the defensive side of the ball. So, and stay healthy. Also, stay healthy if you're the Kansas Jayhawks as well. So that's my Big 12 Media Day recap for Kansas. Cannot wait to see them play in the fall as well. So that's my Big 12 Media Day recap for Kansas. Now, Oklahoma State is up next. Oklahoma State is up next. So Eric Morris entering his first season there. He played for Texas Tech as a wide receiver. Recently just came from North Texas as the head coach, bringing pretty much majority of his guys from North Texas over to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, I would like to call North Texas North. I've said that at the beginning because it really is it's pretty much just big, North Texas taking over the Cowboys, right? So I think the thing is they emphasize this, and it's confidence, but let's lay off a lot of the hype. It's kind of the vibe I got from them. They're still rebuilding, and he mentioned that. They're still rebuilding. So he is focused on creating immediate chemistry, but he also kind of had that vibe of, okay, we're still rebuilding, right? So that's one thing. So it's kind of a little bit optimistic, but also, okay, if anybody's expecting a national championship run right off the bat, then, you know what I mean? You're going to have to settle down. So that's number one of what they discussed. He's going to continue to call the plays. He emphasized that as well. So he believes that he can still call the plays there. He still believes that the offense can be ran through him and that they can continue to utilize that modern air raid type of style at Oklahoma State, which is what Oklahoma State's known for, is air raid, slinging it out type of offense. And that's what Drew Mestemaker is known for as well. So, and one thing as well, and we can move on after Oklahoma State and we can give my thoughts. Drew Mestemaker was there. He preached on there's no ceiling, and he thinks there's no ceiling on this offense, which means they can go as high as they want to in this revamped offense. He's confident, and he believes in his teammates there, and he believes that Oklahoma State can become a high-octane offense that defenses are going to have to watch out for. I love the confidence in Drew Mestemaker. I really do, and I love the confidence in the team. I do think they have a more laid-back approach to it, though, as well. So here are my thoughts on Oklahoma State in my mini-day recap and from the vibe that I got from them as Eric Morris spoke as well. I liked how they sounded, but they also sounded reserved a little bit. They sounded a little bit more laid back. I get that. I would be too. You're still rebuilding. You're trying to create that immediate chemistry. You got the revamped offense, but it could still take time. It can all still take time, especially with the teams that you got to play on your schedule as well. So I picked them, I believe they're 6. Yeah, 6 on my list, 6 on my conference standing projections. I think that's the best spot for them right now. I think they're going to overachieve. A lot of people will probably pick them lower than I did. I think they're going to overachieve. I think that they'll finish there, but there's going to be some teams on their schedule where you look at and you're thinking, that's going to drop them to 6. So overall, that's my media day recap on Oklahoma State, and that's how I feel about them after they spoke at Big 12 Media Days. So that's my media day recap on them. Next up is TCU. TCU is very interesting. I think Sonny Dykes is entering an interesting year where he made it to a bowl game last year. They're consistently kind of, going up and down a little bit. I compared them to South Carolina a little bit in up and down type of years, right? So we'll just see what happens with TCU, but I think they're entering an interesting year. Sonny Dykes is. So he is, and he preached this in media days as well, focusing on roster culture. He used the portal pretty good. He thinks that he's had success with the portal, especially coming in with quarterback Jaden Craig coming in from Harvard. So you get guys, Jaden Craig coming in from the Ivy League, right? But he's going to be in command of that offense. He believes that he'll start. He likes his progression. He's talked about it as well. He loves the physical traits. He's emphasizing physical traits, film production, and cultural fit. And he utilized that and studied in depth going into the portal this year with his roster. So we talked about that and talked about how his roster is very transfer heavy. And he talked about how it fits, how the physical traits and the evaluations go into it when building this roster for this year. So he talked about that. He talked about the process of the portal. They are focusing on Gordy Samish is now the OC there. And he's focusing on a new philosophy on the offense under Gordy Samish. And he's focusing also on one big thing, and he talked about it, is reducing the turnovers. He's talked about it in multiple times. He talked about it, he touched on it again in Big 12 Media Days, is reducing turnovers, because this is a turnover-heavy team last year. So reducing that and cutting that down under Coach Samish, the offensive coordinator for TCU. He promoted their Dublin game as well. I'm scared about that game, but he talked about that and talked about how he promoted that and how they were excited for the chance to go to Dublin, Ireland in week 0. So he's also addressed this is an interesting one as well, scheduling frustrations, which we can talk about on another episode as well, too. We're talking about it now. But he addressed the unusual scheduling matrix for the Big 12 and discussed how there's a little bit of lack of transparency in how conference matchups are determined. He feels like they only played Oklahoma twice, both at home, in the past 5 years at TCU, without a return trip to Stillwater. Just a lack of transparency on how things are scheduled in the Big 12, and he wants things to be a little bit more evened out, I guess. So, okay, my thoughts and my recaps on TCU is, one, I agree with scheduling. I think scheduling needs to be a little bit more evened out as well. I do think that the doubling game scares me. I think I don't really favor TCU or North Carolina in that game overall this year, which scares me. I put them at number 10. They're in the top 10, TCU is, on my conference standing projections list because of maybe that game and others. They're kind of in the middle, honestly, especially with that doubling game. That game worries me. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with Jaden Craig at quarterback and how the offense is going to be. I'm curious to see, are they going to take a more running balanced style approach on the offense, as well as balance the ball out a little bit more instead of just slinging it all around the field, just be a little bit more balanced on the offense. We'll see. I think that the turnovers are a good thing that I'm going to watch out for. I'm confident, but also sense a little bit of frustration, it seems like, in the TCU side of things. So for me, Those are my overall thoughts on TCU and that's my mini day recap on TCU for Big 12 mini days in 2026. So, moving on as we continue to wind down and wrap everything up, Houston is up next, and I'm excited about Houston. I've said that. I've been excited about Houston ever since the season ended. I think Houston's going to be a solid team. They are number 3 in our conference standing projections for the Big 12. Number 3. So, he thinks that they have shifted from quote-unquote conference cellar dwellers to a top-tier team, which means, if you don't know, and I've used the word a lot, gatekeeper. He doesn't think they're a gatekeeper or at the bottom, right? He thinks that they are a top contending team in this conference, and he's going to show it. He believes that they can show it. Willie Fritz is setting a high bar for this season, and I would too. After winning 10 games last year, I would too. 9 to 10 games last year, I 100% would reach for that ceiling, right? So you're reaching for that, and you're excited about it. So you have that going on. He doesn't think there's any gimmies in the conference, which I like that he said that. You got to earn your way on the field. He's excited about setting that bar and standard to be national champions, and he wants that to happen. He wants this team to be a national champion. I love the standard he is setting. It's confidence. He talked about how he handled high expectations, 10-win campaign. He thinks that that the offense is going to be really good. He feels like they are going from the hunters to the hunted. He is really confident in his team. So that's what I liked about them. They just were really confident. He talked about roster continuity, being strong roster-wise and being more stable roster-wise and keeping everything, getting all their key players back. They had some minor tweaks, sure, but they bring back all their coaching staff, majority of their coaching staff, majority of their star and key players are coming back. He thinks that Houston can be a team that is stable, physical, and tough, but also experienced, and that's what I like about Houston as well. Here's what my overall thoughts that I got from Houston. From Connor Wingman to anybody, I believe that this team is really confident, and they should be confident. This is a team that I look at right here, that they have a shot at being a top team and could be an at-large spot team in the college ball playoff, a dark horse at-large spot in the college ball playoff. I believe that if they end up winning the games they're supposed to win. And not only that, if they beat if they beat Texas Tech week 3, immediately they are at the top of the conference. Immediately. And they should be. Houston, we have a problem, and Houston might be that problem, right? So we have a problem. Houston could be that problem. That's my mid-day recap for Houston. I love how confident Willie Fritz was. I love how confident this team was. They showed off. They were really swagger-esque, right? That you felt that swagger and that aura, that confident, okay, we are going to be at the top of this conference. You got that vibe from them, and I like that from Houston. So, Houston, that was my recap from them, or for them, for their Big 12 Media Day. So, as we continue to wind down, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about some West Virginia football. Mountain Mama, take me home. Country Road. You have to sing it every time we talk about West Virginia, I guess. I guess, honestly, I love that song. So, Rich Rodriguez, focusing on his overhaul roster, he was discussing that and talking about how it can still take time, but he utilized how some of the key players can make a difference on this overhaul roster as well. So he's confident in that. He pitched a Super League. Reorganized major college football programs into a regional division of roughly 60 teams. And share television revenue on top of that. He's one of the only ones that talked about that. He believes in that. I don't. So that's where me and Coach Rodriguez differ. But I will say that he's confident, at least in his team, of how he's, rebuilt his roster. So he loves that he's rebuilt his roster. Caden Luke at fullback, he really loves his development as well. He has talked about Cam Cook coming in from Jack State. and that he is going to be a dynamic player for his offense. He loves the development of this team, and he loves how well they are being prepared and how the chemistry is starting to build as well. He touched on that as well also. I sense a little bit of confidence, but also like a little bit of Oklahoma State. Let's take a step back a little bit, right? And this is my overall thoughts for West Virginia, as well as Rich Rodriguez spoke as well at Media Day. I believe, from what I've heard from him, I think that this is a team where I have them at number 9. They're in the top 10. I think that West Virginia is going to be an upgrade this year. I really do. I think they're going to win ball games. I just think that they are kind of could slip into that gatekeeper role a little bit. I think they have a dynamic running back in Cam Cook. I think they could be a don't underestimate them type of team in certain games on certain team schedules. I just believe right now there are some questions, especially on the offensive line, a little bit. So there are some questions still that I really kind of wanted to get answered, but we didn't see it. We probably won't see it until we play. But he seems confident. He seems ready to go into his second year and his second stint at West Virginia, and he seems ready to rock and roll. So that's my overall thoughts on West Virginia, and that's my Media Day recap on West Virginia for Big 12 Media Days. So as we move on, keeping on going, Iowa State. I put them dead last. I said this was kind of a rebuild for them. But head coach Jimmy Rogers would not think that. He would probably laugh at my face or bust at me, one or the other. He thinks that this is not a rebuild. He rejected that notion. He is embracing the underdog role. They are using that as a motivation. He believes that a lot of people don't believe in him, and that's fine. He's embracing that role. He's confident to be in that role, and he thinks that this team will shock a lot of teams this year. There is no quarterback battle. Jalen Raynor will be the starting quarterback. He announced that at Big 12 Media Days. Jalen Raynor from Arkansas State, the transfer from Arkansas State, will be the starting quarterback for this team. He thinks that he had a strong spring, and he is poised and confident to be the leader of this offense. So he believes in him. So he's got that natural belief, and he's got that athletic ability to make things happen and to make plays happen for this team. So starting quarterback's confirmed. He doesn't believe that there's a rebuilding year. He believes that he loves that he has his NFL style approach to him when he rebuilds. So he thinks that the team is further ahead. I think that they're not, but that's just me. He thinks that the culture is going to be a key factor for this team, and he's trying to get the people who are buying in and who are the right fit to be an Iowa State Cyclone. That's what he talked about overall. So a lot of it was about overall roster and being the underdog. That was really the Media Day vibe that I got from him at Iowa State. So here's my overall thoughts. I do think they're rebuilding. I do have them dead last still. I don't think that really changes a whole lot. I think Jalen Raynor can be a really good quarterback for this team. I just think that Iowa State is a team where they have some players on their roster that can make a difference. I just think that they need a couple of years to build up. So give Jimmy Rogers some time. I just think that it's going to take a couple of years for them to build up. That's really my vibe and my overall recap for Iowa State for Big 12 Media Days. So, moving on as we continue to wind down, we have about 5 more teams left. So we're covering the whole Media Day recap instead of into parts. So I'm glad you guys are keeping up with me. Subscribe on YouTube to Pigskin Frenzy. Keep up to date with me on Pigskin Frenzy for Big 12 Media Day recaps for this episode. It's going to be great. So Cincinnati. Coming up next is Cincinnati. So quarterback change. Obviously, no Brendan Sorsby. You get J.C. French the fourth. I'm pretty sure that he is most likely the starting quarterback because I think that's what they're talking about there. It's really much confirmed. I believe that he's going to be the starting quarterback there. So, very interesting by the way. I don't know if you guys caught this or not. They had pancake-themed press kits so featuring syrup and mix to promote their standout offensive line. Cincinnati's offensive line is one of the best in college football. So he praised the offensive line. They're bringing back pretty much all their guys from last year on the offensive line. They're huge. They're big. They're one of college football's best, one of them. And they're probably at the top of the Big 12 O-line wise. So the big thing was the offensive line. I did not have any bad thing to say about the offensive line during conference standing projections, even though I put them at 12. I think there are some key pieces on that defense and on that offense that are concerning a little bit, maybe. But offensive line is not one of them. I think they're one of the best in the sport, not just the Big 12. So he praised the offensive line. Scott Satterfield did. And if I'm Coach Satterfield, I would have too. I would love to have Coach Satterfield on my show. Would love to talk to him. Would love to have him on. I'm gonna try to reach out to them, hopefully one soon, because I would love to reach, to get them back on, to get them on my show. So they praise the offensive line. He praised J.C. French the fourth. He thinks that this team he can be a true leader for this offense, and it's looking like his leadership ability is giving him dividends. Right, it's paying dividends for this team. So they placed Cincinnati at 11th. I placed them at 12th. So. Yes, there was a lot of comments about the Brendan Sorsby and Cincinnati's role in a lot of this stuff. Everybody kind of declined it and didn't want to talk about it. I understand that. So they didn't want to talk about it, and they declined it. So we can't comment it either because we have no thoughts on it. There's really nothing to comment on, right? So overall, my recap of Cincinnati, I think there are still questions on key pieces of that team, defensively included. However, that offensive line is looking really, really good. J.C. French, I want to see more out of, despite his leadership being really solid for this offense. I want to see more out of. I believe I'm not going to change my conference standing projections on them. I think that they're going to be an interesting team to watch and curious because they had a good first half of the season. Then they just kind of finished kind of slow. So can they be consistent? I think that's a really big question about Cincinnati. So we'll see about that. We will see about Cincinnati as they head into the fall. But that's my Media Day recap for Cincinnati for Big 12 Media Days. So 4 more teams left and we'll wrap up. Let's talk about Colorado, those Colorado Buffaloes. Energy, consistency. Can we get back on track? Those are a few things that come to my mind when talking about Colorado. Coach Prime is back. He emphasized that he is healthy, and it's the best he has been health-wise since taking the job. He was quietly dealing with bladder cancer, so we are so thankful that he is cancer-free. We're so thankful that he is healthy, and we have prayed for him, and we'll continue to pray for him as he continues to get even better. Now that he is back as the head coach, we talked about Pat Shurmur being the offensive coordinator there and coach. Revamped offensive line. Julian Lewis most likely will be the starting quarterback for this team. Offensive line is a big concern about this team. He talked about revamping it and trying to make it stronger and better. He discussed that. He talked about that he thinks that this will be the coaching staff and himself think that this will be the best and most physical offensive line they have ever coached since being there, which is going to be the key in all this, the O-line, because they've kind of struggled offensive line-wise, right? They struggle in the trenches a lot. So he thinks that the most important thing is chemistry and player-led chemistry as well. Can they be a full unit, a full team, right? So I think that is a big thing there. Despite height, despite size, can they have the heart and be a unit team-wise? That's what they really preached at Big 12 Media Days as well. So my overall thoughts on Colorado, I think the offensive line is a huge concern. I think physically is a concern as well. Still a concern, still a question mark, but I want to see how everything's going to be there with that, right? I want to see more of that. I want to see, can they be physical enough, right? Up front. Still a key concern. Still what I want to see out of this team. Those are the main things that I want to see answered. That's my media day recap of Colorado. I'm glad he's healthy. I'm glad he's ready to rock and roll. That's my media day recap of Colorado as we continue to move on and wrap up. So, 3 more. I think we go into Utah. And I think I want to see what's going on with Morgan Scaley now as the full-time head coach. He was the head coach in waiting as well as the defensive coordinator. He's there. New era under his leadership. How is everything going to be, and how is Morgan Scaley's team going to look? It's not Kyle Whittingham. It's how is his vision and how is his culture going to look? He talked about the wide receiver room. He talked about the overall roster and how it outlooked. He thinks they're retooling the offensive line and in the front seven, which is a key concern. But they have portal additions like Braden Pagan. They have veteran leadership. Devin Dampier is back. They have Bird Ficklin is back as well. Bird Ficklin is back. So they bring him, the 2 quarterbacks back. They bring back bring back Wayshawn Johnson. They bring back I think they bring back a lot of the guys on offense, right? So a lot of the dynamic playmakers on their team are back on the offense. It's just the offensive line is one of the big concerns there. He talked about controlling the narrative. He says that Brandon Scaley and Kalani Sitake discussed keeping the Holy War rivalry in a competitive, respectful place. So be respectful and be competitive at the same time, but don't make it too out of control and just control that narrative there. So that's a really good discussion to have as well if you're Morgan Scaley as well, right? So discussing his fit, discussing the culture there, I think that was some good talking points that we discussed at Media Day. They seem stern but also confident as well. So my overall thoughts on Utah as well is I don't think they're going to have much of a fall off. I think they're still going to be a top team in the Big 12. I think that they're going to finish 5th. Honestly, I think 5th is the best spot for them. A lot of people have them higher, but I have them at 5th. I just think there are some teams ahead of them that are going to be a little bit better, but I don't think there's going to be much of a fall off. I think Utah will still be a contending team and will still be a top tier team in the Big 12. So overall, that's my Media Day recap for Utah, and that is my Media Day recap for them as well. So couple more teams, 2 more teams, and then we'll wrap up. Let's talk about UCF, and then we'll talk about the defending Big 12 champions. So UCF, Scott Frost entering his 2nd year as head coach and his 2nd stint as head coach there. So Alonzo Barrett III coming in from JMU. He was the Sun Belt champion and playoff team JMU. He was a starting quarterback for that team, led that team to the playoff. He transferred to UCF, been dealing with some injuries. Scott Frost confirmed that he was ready to go. So how is that going to look for the offense as well? Could that give him a big boost? Who knows? So we talked about that. There is some set leadership, which is he's confident in that as well. There's more set leadership in his team. He discussed that as well. Highlighted that fixed leadership like Barnett, Preston Cushman from the offensive line, Lewis Carter from the linebacker, and Jaden Bellamy, the corner defensive back for UCF. Those are the main leaders of the team, and their set leadership team-wise, and the chemistry is starting to build as well, which is really, really good. He does have a playoff mentality. He wants to roll with the punches. And regarding the playoff expansion as well, he's really willing to roll with the punches as well. So he's got a strong mentality. I think there are still question marks, and this is my recap and my thoughts on UCF. There are some question marks there where you look and you're thinking, okay, maybe, just maybe, they may shock some people, but you've also got to look and think there are still some question marks in the front. A little bit on the offensive line and on the defensive line. There are still some question marks around this team, especially health-wise, and you're thinking, are they going to be... Because they're the only winless team in the Big 12 since the expansion, right? That hadn't really done a lot. So can they do something? Can they step up and shock people and move into a top 10 type role in the conference? Those are my questions about UCF, and only time will tell. We'll see in the fall with Scott Frost in his second year in his second tenure at UCF. So that's my media day recap for UCF and what I thought about them as they spoke in Frisco. So last but not least, before we wrap up our Big 12 media day recap, Texas Tech. Very interesting comments there. They talked about the Brendan Sorsby stuff, of course, right? They're going to talk about Brendan Sorsby stuff. Yormark's not going to comment on that. Joey McGuire can comment on that as well. They are, quote unquote, not scared of anyone, right? And I think Joey McGuire preached that confidence. They know that they are the hunted. And I think that's what the talk was when the questions were asked. Joey McGuire addressed it. He addressed the Will Hammond injury. He didn't shy down from anything. He discussed player development. He discussed roster changes following Hammond's injury. Britt Yormark asked about the relationship with the conference and Britt Yormark with the viral thing with the Texas Tech reporter saying that the conference is moving forward strong and being strong, even when Texas Tech's in there. All this stuff, right? All this is happening, right? So a lot of it was discussed, right? A lot of the normal things that we discussed, the Brendan Sorsby stuff was discussed. Will Hammond being the quarterback, Kirk Francis there, everything. The roster changes for everything, right? So the big thing that I can take away and what we can take away from Texas Tech in Big 12 Media Days was Joe McGuire said they're not scared of anybody. And that was a big thing that they discussed overall at Big 12 Media Day. So my overall recap and my thoughts on Texas Tech before we wrap up our Media Day recap. So for Texas Tech and that confidence that they got, I would have the same confidence that I was Joey McGuire. Why? Because no one has the NIL resources, the packaging like Texas Tech does right now in that conference. No one has the roster plan and layout and build like Texas Tech in that conference. Joe McGuire has that confidence in him, that swagger in him. No one has that but him. No one does. No one has it but him right now. So, overall, that's my overall confidence, or my overall recapping confidence in Texas Tech. I just think that Texas Tech looks like they're going to repeat. It just looks like it. And that vibe and that sentiment just looks, despite the hate, maybe, that they get, who can stop it? Maybe BYU, but who can stop it? Really? Who can stop it truly? That's my media day recap of Texas Tech. They're confident. They're not scared. They're scared or shying down away from anybody. And that's the vibe and the confidence that I got from them when they spoke at Media Day. So that's my Media Day recap for Texas Tech. And overall, that is my 2026 Big 12 Media Day recap. Got all of it done in one sitting, like I said. Hopefully you guys did not click off. Hopefully you guys were entertained. Continue to subscribe to the channel and all platforms. We are out of time, so a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by us. Guys, coming up on Tuesday. Today's Thursday. Tuesday, we are going to recap ACC Media Days. We're going to recap ACC Media Days. Then next Thursday, we will recap SEC Media Days. And then the next Tuesday after that, we'll conclude our Media Day recaps with Big 10 Media Day. So next Tuesday, coming up on Tuesday, will be ACC Media Day recaps as we continue our Media Day recap coverage. So guys, until Tuesday, I'm Joel Norris signing off. Hope everyone has a great weekend. We're praying for you all, and we love you all. Continue on with Pigskin Frenzy and plug it into the show. As always, stay the course.